Hello, hello, and thanks again for joining me for another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. I'm doing the new releases for July 7th, 2023, what's come in the store. And let me just begin real quickly by giving a little bit of a pause and saying that we lost somebody very, very close to us this week. It was not unexpected. Um, she'd been sick for quite a while, and it's sort of been a tough time, but it's been a long time coming. So, our deepest thoughts, prayers, and love go out to her memory and everyone who loved her. She was very important to the store, helped us set it up, was here for many months when one of us was ill and helped out with that. And it's sort of a sad, tragic time. So, anyway, hard when it's a celebratory for the country and all that. But we shall manage to continue doing what we do. So the first big new release this week, Taylor Swift, Speak Now, or Forever Hold Your Peace. Taylor's version, this is the reissue of her Speak Now album. There are questions with her regarding the rights to her songs, and so she's been re-recording everything. And this is one of the sort of early mid-period albums that she's done here. It's 3 LPs on marbled orchid vinyl, and what's cool about this too is that there's 6 previously unreleased songs from the vault, and one features Fall Out Boy, and another one features Hayley Williams from Paramore. So that's pretty cool. And album producers are credited Taylor Swift, Christopher Rowe, Jack Antonoff, and Aaron Dessner. So the people that she worked with on like Folklore are sort of involved in this now at the production level. It's cool because sometimes she'll do just a slight variation on a song, and then other times it'll be more of a variation. Like, is she going to sing it in the voice that she had when she was, 15, 12 years ago, I guess? That's like 12 years now for that album. Or is she going to sing it in her new voice? So, it'll be cool. All right, second big release, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. This is their new album, Petrodragonic Apocalypse. Can't even say it. Or Dawn of Eternal Night, and Annihilation of Planet Earth, and the Beginning of Merciless Damnation. Well, that's quite a mouthful. These guys, 3 to 5 albums a year. This has been streaming for a little while. That's the actual album cover. Pretty epic. And they're doing sort of another metal album, kind of like Infest the Rat's Nest was. So 8 tracks. It actually has a bonus track on it, Dawn of Eternal Night. You can kind of see the track list down there. All right, cool. And this is on Lucky Rainbow Wax color, which is sort of a like a purpley swirl, I think, one of them. And Lucky Rainbow means you're getting whatever you get. So, but it's not black. All right, last week I mentioned that Fish Farmhouse was coming out on vinyl, and we did get several of these, sold most of them. There's only like 3 left, maybe 2. And I went to order more, and they are completely sold out of all 3 distributors that I looked at. And not only were they sold out, they were wiped out of the system. So if you want to get this album, you better get it quickly, because it's not going to be around for very long. And I don't know, I mean, maybe they'll put it out again, but it's not going to be this Northern Lights pressing, whatever that means as far as the color. Another one that they just reissued a few more copies of, and I didn't get very many of these either, Story of the Ghost by Fish. And this is on a 2 LP Big Secret half split color vinyl. Produced and mixed by Andy Wallace. Vinyl mastered by Chris Bellman at Bernie Grunman Mastering. I think the other one was Bernie Grunman as well. Okay. Rory Gallagher. This is Rory All Around Man live in London. And I think this was Royal Albert Hall. I'm not sure. It says features 23 previously unreleased recordings from the 1990 UK tour, including Continental Op, Kid Gloves, Ghost Blues, mastered at Abbey Road, 3 LP, 180 gram vinyl, made in Italy. Nice. I mean, Rory has kind of had a major resurgence in the last few years. People are finally discovering him. All right, Blue Note Tone Poets this week. There are a couple of those. You get Hank Mobley, A Caddy for Daddy. And these, are all sort of, those of you who watch this know they're all cut directly from original analog tapes mastered by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. So there is a pretty cool package right there. I don't know. This has Lee Morgan, McCoy Tyner. I mean, this thing probably really grooves, I would guess. So at least the cover art certainly alludes to that. The other one that I think also looks equally great is the Sonny Clark Trio. And this features Paul Chambers and Philly Joe Jones. Amazing bass and drums players. This is also same deal, cut from analog tapes, mastered at by Kevin Gray. These are also manufactured at RTI. So they're pretty much audiophile recordings done affordably. And then another big jazz reissue, Bill Evans' Waltz for Debbie. This is on OJC, the original Jazz Classics label. Scott LaFaro and Paul Motion on it. Let's see. This is also mastered by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. I think he's doing this entire series as far as I know. Yeah, this is another super classic. I think a lot of people have that record already. Whether or not they have a version that sounds that good, and they thought the tapes were lost, and when they found them, apparently they sound fantastic. So, all right, some other new things. Wham, the singles, Echoes from the Edge of Heaven. This is a 11-hit singles, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, Last Christmas, Club Tropicana, Everything She Wants, I'm Your Man, plus B-sides and remixes. Well, there's a new Wham documentary playing on Netflix that's supposedly pretty good. And, George, I think, was taken from us too soon, really. And this is kind of an interesting mix of songs. The first record is sort of a greatest hits, and the second is like longer versions and even like an instrumental mix of Ray of Sunshine, which is actually kind of a great track. I don't know why they put the instrumental version on there, unless George had a lot to do with that, because he did play a lot. So and people don't realize that he was such a great musician too. PJ Harvey, see if I can get the title right. I Inside the Old Year Dying. That's the name of her record, new one. It's interesting how she kind of is splayed out on the back, the way this sort of tree branch looking thing on the cover is. But yeah, I don't really know anything about this except she's on Partisan Records now. So kind of away from Island, and Partisan is a great sort of indie label. I think they have a lot of good artists on that. And another kind of return of another indie artist I haven't heard from in a little while, Anahni. I don't know if that's how you say it. I've never gotten it right. Anoni and the Johnsons. It used to be Anthony and the Johnsons, but Anthony has become gender fluid. This is not Anthony on the cover, by the way. They always or Anani, they always put different images, different people on the cover. This is a limited edition color vinyl. Um, you can kind of tell from the back. We're talking like kind of interesting indie rock. I do think this is the first album with the Johnsons in like 10 years. And it sounds to me like more organic and more soul based than more of the recent Anahani stuff. Another band I kind of don't know a lot about, but they've had a few records. Group Love, and this is their new album, I Want It All Right Now. Um, Sort of like a band that was pretty popular like maybe 8-10 years ago, and I just didn't get into them, and now um, here they are back again. So it's been a while though. This is a limited edition color vinyl. Maybe it's time to take a chance on them again. It looks like every song title on the back is a one word title. All right. Let's see. I have a lot here. Local Natives. And this is a very interesting sort of cutout, punch out cover. It's called Time Will Wait for No One. Indie record store exclusive canary yellow vinyl. Yeah, they're like an indie rock band. And another sort of, I don't know, I would call these guys like kind of indie, not jazz, indie rock sort of, but they're just very unique. Little Dragon, and this is their first new album in a long time. Slugs of Love. It's a clear vinyl edition with orange, black, and blue splatter for indie stores. Little Dragon's lead singer featured a lot on early Gorillaz albums. It gives you sort of an idea of what her voice is like. Although it was usually a little more like cartoony on Gorillaz records. Tom Kiefer Band, Rise. Tom Kiefer, member of erstwhile Cinderella, Philly band. Yeah, and it looks like 11 new songs. I think they're new. It's on splatter vinyl too. Okay. A couple Overkill releases. WFO and I Hear Black. Two more Overkill reissues. There have been like 4 already, so this makes 6. Albums half speed mastered. This is on clear marble vinyl. This is on orange marble vinyl. So if you're into Overkill and like late 80s, mid-late 80s metal and early 90s. Pussifer. What a terrible band name. I say that every time. I just don't like saying this name for some reason. Don't Shoot the Messenger EP. I mean, I think the band is actually pretty good, but yeah, these are sort of like long tracks for there. And yeah, Don't Shoot the Messenger. Opaque gold vinyl. Reissue of Body Count, Manslaughter. This is like 15-16 years old. Ice-T, when Body Count was making one of their other reissues. Black, yellow, black with silver splatter. I don't know why black is written twice, but it is. Yeah. Featuring Bitch in the Pit. And the last song is I Will Always Love You, his cover of Whitney Houston and Dolly Parton's song. Probably not. I don't know. Maybe it is. Why not? Hootie and the Blowfish, Cracked Rear View. So interesting this week, Atlantic Records is doing more of their 75th anniversary editions, clear vinyl, and that's what this is. This is part of the clear vinyl series. Another one which I already had a few copies hanging around, but now there's some clear vinyl of In Excess Kick. So if you want like a special edition of it, yeah, it's an album that never seems to get old, and it's their most popular album as far as like sales wise. Has the most hits on it. Phil Collins, No Jacket Required. Um, Clear vinyl. So I guess that makes it collectible. But I think it's funny how they even on this they didn't go back to the older picture. They're using like the more recent one of him pretty old here on the cover. But yeah, it's the original album featuring One More Night, Susudio, Take Me Home, Don't Lose My Number. A lot of hits on this album. It was huge. Clear vinyl for Phil collectors, and another clear vinyl, Skrillex. And this album is called Don't Get Too Close. That porcupine has serrated edges. All right. Okay, other reissues. This has been out, I think, a few times, reissued. Camp, By and By. This album is kind of hard to find, I think, sometimes. And so on 3 sides, we get that one again. A jazz reissue from Art Pepper. This is called So in Love, and it's on Omnivore Records. Was actually a 1980 album for Art Pepper. Interesting choice for Omnivore to reissue that. That's also on CD. And another one here, Nick Drake's The Endless Colored Ways, the songs of Nick Drake. And this is one of those like various artist collections. Features Fontaine's DC, Guy Garvey of Elbow, Bombay Bicycle Club, Let's Eat Grandma, David Gray, John Parrish with Aldous Harding, Ben Harper, Emily Sandé, Craig Armstrong. Let's see, who else? Gia Margaret, Aurora, Joe Henry, Michelle Indegocello, Feist. It just had something land on me. Liz Phair, Phil Selway, John Grant. I'm telling you guys, everything is freaking me out these days. You can tell my mood is different this week, isn't it? It's very different. Don't worry, the old me will return at some point. All right, that's pretty much all I had to show for new release vinyl. You see we got a reissue of Grant Green's Nigeria back in, which I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're repressing those Tone Poets again, which was a good thing. And they've been doing other things. I mean, I've shown like we had Melancholy, Smashing Pumpkins recently. It felt like some things came in today too that I hadn't seen in quite a while. So, okay. Well, one was, do I dare show this? I'm gonna get up and show this. Sorry. I'm only showing this because the guy who was here first in line for Record Store Day was here at 9 p.m., 8 p.m. the night before. And we only had one, and he got it. And then 3 more showed up today for some reason. One's already sold. If you see the video and you're like, I need that Macho Man Randy Savage, you better get down here quick because they're going fast. Probably won't get it again. That's my guess. All right. So I do reviews, every week. And this week I am choosing Basement Jaxx Rooty. And the reason I'm choosing this is because it's upbeat, it's fun, it's got funk and dance and soul, and it is like edgy but older now. Glitchy at times for its time, and it just makes you feel good in the summer. And I love the cover. The cover art is pretty indicative of what the music sounds like. Very Prince inspired. So more like the kind of earlier Prince. Kind of has like a 1999 sort of vibe going on with these titles and whatever. But so Basement Jaxx were or are a DJ duo from the UK, but I think they're so much more than just DJs because they actually came up with great songs and wrote and produced great songs over the course of many albums. They're probably a little more song based in some ways than Chemical Brothers, even though they have a lot of songs too. But less just groove and more kind of like, you know, it's almost like each one is its own mixtape in a way. Lots of different vocalists. The first song, Romeo, is very like catchy, bouncy, kind of female. All of these, a lot of these have female vocalists, not all, but that one is kind of was the big sort of like lead single from this album. Breakaway is one of my favorite tracks on here, track 2. It's like super funky, weird vocals. It's just hard to kind of explain, but it's like almost like a house version of like Funkadelic with, you know, with George Clinton later into his career. But that's great. SFM, it's a Sexy Feline Machine, which is more kind of like a skittery kind of a thing, and that's why the SFM has sort of cat ears on it. Just One Kiss is more kind of like Latin house, sort of. You get songs like, you know, I Want You, which are cool little like pop tracks, and Broken Dreams is actually kind of a melancholy song, and then Get Me Off is just crazy like Princey funk type stuff. Where's Your Head At is the song that I think most people probably know from this album, that it samples Gary Newman, and it was kind of a underground hit for a while. I don't know how much it was featured on MTV, but they kind of had these like weird, I don't know if they had monkey heads. It's been a while since I've watched that video, but it was a very edgy video for the time. And then Do Your Thing is almost like a throwback to Betty Boop type stuff. Has like a 1920s kind of zip 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 like feel to it, and it was used in a lot of TV commercials. Crazy Girl is more funk, and All I Know is kind of like a mellow outro. There are a couple of interludes, the Freakalude, and yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think just for a great listen that gets your toes tapping and makes you feel good, I'll recommend Basement Jaxx Rudy this week. This is one of my favorite albums of this era that came out around the late 90s, early 2000s. Their other albums from this era are great too. The first one and the third one are equally as good, I think. But this just kind of hits that great midpoint. And they've had other good albums since then, but really like this first 3 or 4 probably the best. But check it out. Check out Basement Jaxx Rudy. Just I think one thing I would suggest, if even if you don't like this kind of music so much, listen for the production and how detailed it is, because especially for its time, it was kind of ahead of its time, I think, to be that detailed and layered and precise, and still try to like make pop music out of something that was like almost like overproduced in a way. And you get all these sounds that are sampled that are like, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. It could be going back to like, you know, things like MF Doom or something like that. It's not MF Doom. I mean, it doesn't sound like that, but all right. But there might be some similar things. I'm reaching. Thanks so much for joining me. This is a shorter video this week. Like I said, it's been sort of a difficult time. It's been very much a difficult time. So but I really wanted to get a video out for you guys this weekend, especially because there's so much coming out, and you really need to kind of keep up with that if you can, if you're interested in it at all, because things will come and pass you by, and if you're a fish fan, you won't see that again probably for a while, if at all. So, I mean, maybe another 20 years. All right. So thanks and have a wonderful weekend. And as I always say, peace. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and continuing to support us through all of the ups and downs. All right. Take care and be good to each other.